Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? This is your girl, the doc, Lisa Antia. We're seeing it all knowing right here on YouTube and the knowing on Facebook. Please follow. It's free. It does not cost you one bit to subscribe to the channel. If you like the content, please become a supporter over here. We're trying to build this platform. We do almost anything, bring reactions, talk about different things as far as mental health, psychological things, almost everything. We're covering some of the cases that's going on, the Darnell Jones, also the Carmelo Anthony, and the Austin, the one that did not survive. I think his last name is Metcalf. Excuse me, Austin Metcalf. Our prayers continue to go out to him and his family. Our prayers go out to both families because both families will impact their lives. You know, this incident will impact both of their lives, and we already seen that playing out in the media. But I want to go to Darnell Jones, and he was in court. He has not been in court because he's been in the hospital, because allegedly when he was over in Columbus, Ohio, he tried to pow through his sweatshirt, and the SWAT team over there, you know, they put some bullets in him. And he's just now getting out of the hospital. He has been booked in, I don't know if it's the county jail, but I'm thinking it's like something like a correctional institute. He's in a wheelchair, so I don't know if he's proclaiming he can't walk. You just never know. But the thing that it really doesn't bother me as much as I've heard a lot of other people say kind of bother them, is that none of the family was there. I don't know why. This has been like a strange kind of case to me. I know I would have been there. He's on a $4 million bond, which they may figure he can't make the bond anyway. But you just never know who people know and who will get them. Sometimes, you know, these exes, even though they, you know, this one turned over evidence, you just never know. I would hope nobody wouldn't, and he would stay there, because if he did those horrific things that they say he's confessed to, allegedly, then I would be afraid for him to be in the house with me or anybody else, and he'll stay right there. Now, that's just my spiel and my opinion on it. But, you know, it's so many of these cases where the mother does not have custody of these kids, and they're not in their custody. Someone else is caring for the kids. But they have so much to say. They do. They have a lot to say. And one thing that I do try to do, I do try to dissect whatever I'm doing. I try to listen to it, look at it before I just give any type of reaction. And in this case, I would have been there if I was the family. And like I said, we don't know, can he walk or not? We don't know if being in a wheelchair, because I think he did get pawed in the leg by the SWAT, you know. There's a whole lot of moving pieces with this. And you don't know who to believe, who not to believe. They said the godmother had the little girl up until about 5.5 years ago. And some people are saying she had some type of psychological breakdown, and she could not continue to keep her. And she put her on the steps of her grandmother, which they were good friends. I'm not sure if that is the case, but I just know a lot of grandparents are raising these kids. Some great-grandparents are raising these kids. But where are the mothers? But when it comes to, you know, the GoFundMe, the Cash Apps, and all of that, even fighting to get her body over to her, I think they went to court, probate or something, and the judge did not grant her right to have the body. They actually gave it to the grandmother. But when you really look at this, you have to look at this case that a lot of people, it appears, that failed this little girl. If I wasn't sure that this was my granddaughter's biological father, he wouldn't be around her. That is my opinion. We have to protect our children at all costs. And if you take on the responsibility of caring for a child, it's your responsibility. I brought you all a case that I told you all a lot of the media wasn't talking. But this happened in Perry, Georgia. And this is where the Georgia National Fair is at. Till and I went live at that fair. But in Perry, about a week or two ago, maybe about 2 weeks, I reported that there was a family where the grandmother, the mother, the daughter, and I did not know who child it was at that particular time, but I've since learned that this child was in some type of foster home situation, and the boyfriend of the ex-boyfriend of the young lady, the daughter, he is the one that allegedly came in and unalived them. Now, they had a triple funeral last week. Several people sent it to me. I didn't want to see it because all caskets was open and they were closed. It was too much for me. And I don't really care for funerals. I don't. A lot of people get mad and upset about it. But I just don't go to a lot of funerals. And whoever gets upset about it, they have to just deal with it. And I understand when people say they don't go. If they're super close to me, of course. But if they're not, why would I go get all upset about it? You know, and I didn't have to go. And see, I couldn't even look at it online. But the little girl, she wasn't there. Apparently, her mother is in jail, allegedly. And these people were taking care of her as a foster situation. And so the family sent for her remains, and she'll be buried wherever they are. But it was the grandmother, the mother, and the mother's daughter, all three of them, 3 generations. You know, we really got to think about the men that we choose and the men that we have in our lives. Because it wasn't too long ago, I also brought to you all a young lady that lives in Atlanta that was going to Alabama State University, if I'm not mistaken. And on the way back to school, he pawpawed her and tried to put it on suicide that she committed, you know. And they had a 9-month-old. So I said that to say all of this. We don't know who to trust. You really don't. You don't know these men. You don't know what they're capable of. So the best thing to do is probably let them stay where they at. And not bring them in to harm you and your whole family. He took out the whole family. And that's just one of many stories and cases that we always get. I'm going to get into one about daycare owner and husband. Happened a few years ago. And it was actually out of Baltimore, Maryland. And she's doing 4 years. He's doing life. I will be bringing that story back to you. But for now, I just basically wanted to talk about this in the Darnell Jones case. And that is the little girl that would have turned 14 on the 28th. Kei'Mani. And that's all I'll say about that. You know, I don't like to get out here calling names. But he is under, they did give him a bond. It's $4 million. We don't know if he'll be able to make that bond. But we know that, you know, he's dangerous. He could be a flight risk. Remember, he ran to Columbus, Ohio. Y'all, this is your girl, The Knowing. And I'm out on this video.